free consultation.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, my goodness. Today is a great day because we got another episode of Legal Talk. We are here on the NowMedia Network. I'm the host of your show, John Mitchell. And boy, oh boy, do we have some treats for you today. So buckle up and get ready for a wonderful ride because we got some good information that's going to be useful for everybody out there. We are so pleased, happy, overjoyed, in fact, to have everybody out there in the audience with us, watching the big show. And please, if you guys are out there and you watch the show, feel free to shoot me an email, jmitchell@cctaxlaw.com, or at my phone number. You can give me a call, 713-333-0555. And, I'm always happy to hear from folks out there. You can, if you want, send me questions, send me topics that you might like for me to cover on the big show, and I will do my best to either answer you individually if it's kind of a niche thing, or, maybe I can, include that in the list of next upcoming topics, and we will talk about your topic that you want to hear about here on the show. So that will be very exciting, and I'll be very happy to do that for everybody out there. Now, today I wanted to tell you about this funny story, this little joke that I heard. Guy's at his kitchen table. He's got all the paperwork all spread out. He's got a look of intense concentration on his face. Wife walks into the kitchen. Says, "What are you doing, honey?" "Well, I'm doing our taxes." "Oh, really? You're doing the taxes? Okay." So she looks over his shoulder, looks down at the paperwork, and says, "Hey, are you sure that it's all right to claim these pets, as dependents? That doesn't look quite right." He said, "Oh yeah, no problem. Our CPA does that all the time." "Okay, no problem. Hey, well, how about this other thing? Are you sure that it's okay to write off that European vacation we had, as a business expense? You sure we can do that?" Yeah. The guy says, "No problem. Our CPA does that all the time." She thought about it for a second. She says to the guy, "Well, hey, wait a minute. Why is our CPA not doing our taxes? Why are you doing it? Why is he not doing it?" "Oh, he's in jail for tax fraud." So one of the things that you always got to be careful about is who you listen to, where you get your information, and know, because the IRS does not expect everybody to be an expert in taxes, right? But there is what we call in the legal field a reasonable person standard. So does an ordinary, average, reasonable person, are they going to be able to realize that this thing is correct or not correct, right? You may not know all the details, but you can't claim your pets as dependents, right? You can't write off your vacation, right? So there's a standard of care, right? And when you sign a tax return, you sign it at the bottom of the second page, and we're talking about a 1040, right? So you sign it at the bottom of the second page. It says under penalties of perjury, right? And penalties of perjury, that's a very serious thing. You can be, as memory serves me correctly, it can be like 5 years in prison if you are engaged in perjury. So it's something that you want to take seriously. And even if you don't even go down the road of the criminal, just having inaccuracies on your tax return, it can be a very serious thing. The penalties are pretty high for that. And so you want to kind of steer clear of that. Now, every year, the IRS publishes what they call the Dirty Dozen list, right? And so every year they publish this, and it's a list of 12 or so of the biggest tax frauds or tax scams that are going around, right? And one of the things on the Dirty Dozen list for 2024 is tax advice that you may or may not see floating around out there on social media, right? Now, we all love our social media. You know, it's kind of a love-hate thing, but that's another story for another day. But long story short, we all, social media is a part of our lives. I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. And so one of the things you got to be careful about, okay? I could open up not that I would do this, but I could open up a social media account on TikTok today, and I could start giving you folks out there medical advice, right? Like, I think that you should drink bleach to get rid of your COVID germs or whatever, right? I could do that. And, it'll eventually maybe get taken down or whatever. But long story short, it does not take any special training or anything. Not like TikTok is going to check my credentials when I, open up a brand new account and say Dr. John Mitchell, right? So I could go and do that. Wouldn't do it, but I could, right? And so there are people out there giving tax advice on social media. You got the TikTok tax lawyers, and they're out there saying that you can do all kinds of things. One of the things that has come up recently, the IRS mentioned in their press release for this particular item, the IRS talks about how there are folks out there on social media, especially TikTok, not to pick on TikTok, but that's one of the big ones, where people are out there saying things like, for example, hey, download a blank W-2, fill it in. They kind of explain how you should fill it out, fill in the W-2 form, file that with your taxes, and you're going to get a bigger refund. Well, even you don't have to be a tax expert to know that something doesn't seem quite right about that, right? And so IRS will impose upon you a reasonable person standard, right? Now, let's say on the flip side of it, right? Let's say you come to my office, and again, this would never happen, right? But say you come to my office and you ask for some tax advice, right? Now, I am a licensed attorney and a tax expert, 30 years experience, right? So you come to me, and if I give you some tax advice and it turns out that tax advice was wrong, well, you had a good reason to believe what I was telling you. A reasonable person would say, yeah, John knows what he's talking about. I'm going to take that advice, right? If it turns out that my advice for you was wrong, you can always go back to the IRS and say, hey, IRS, don't charge me a penalty, right? I took the advice from this guy. I trust him. I thought it was right. Mistakes were made. And, you have a decent shot at what the legal argument that we call reasonable reliance, right? I reasonably relied on John. I thought he was going to tell me the right thing. Mistakes were made, right? Don't penalize me for that. And you're going to have a decent chance that the IRS is going to waive those penalties for you, right? But you will not, and I cannot emphasize this enough, you will not be successful going to the IRS and telling them, don't charge me a penalty because I saw some guy on TikTok that said I could fill out my own W-2 form and file that. Right, and so you don't want to be that guy that's out there taking the bad advice. Now, I'm not here to tell anybody don't watch TikTok videos or don't try and get information from the internet. Right, the internet's a wonderful thing. It's got lots of good information, but you definitely have to be careful who you listen to and where you get that advice. And I guess my best piece of advice for folks out there. See what I did there? You can't take advice from me over the TV, right? So one of the things that I would definitely say, if you look at a TikTok video or anything on social media for that matter, and you go ahead and see that tax advice and it seems like, hey, that might be something good for me, one of the things you might want to do is run that by somebody that knows, right? I don't, I don't do my own appendectomy. I'm going to go to the professional. I'm going to go to the doctor who knows what they're doing with that. I don't make drastic changes in my medicine or in my diet or anything. I go to the doctor. I let them, now I can ask the doctor, hey, what do you think about this? Should I start a new exercise routine? Yada yada, whatever it may be. But the main point here is run that by somebody. I'm never upset when somebody calls me up, a client or a potential client calls up my office. John, can I talk to you for 5 minutes? Yeah, sure. What do you got? Right. Well, I saw on TikTok, right, that you can do X, Y, and Z for tax, for tax purposes. More likely than not, most of the time, my answer is, yeah, that is partially true. Sometimes that can be done, but here are the steps, here are the caveats that you got to take into account. And so don't just see something on TikTok or on social media and just blindly follow that and think that, oh my God, I've found the brand new best way to do taxes, right? Or I found the best new strategy for my taxes, right? So IRS has said it, and it's on the Dirty Dozen list. So everybody out there, be warned, if you are going to look at all at tax advice online, just be sure that you run that by your trusted tax person. If you don't know who to run it by, you can call me. Like I said, I love to talk to people and help people out with good advice. 713-333-0555. I'm right here in Houston, Texas, but taxes are federal, so I can take calls from any of the 50 states and even internationally. And even the better way to even get a hold of me is jmitchell@cctaxlaw.com. That's my email address. If you write to me, I will do my very best to either write you back individually or, like I said earlier, maybe your question will be a next segment here on the big show, and we'll be able to share that and help more people. So that's what we're here for. We're trying to give everybody some good, solid, actionable advice that you can take. Take that, put it in your pocket, and go out and use it, right? But if you see something on social media, take it with a grain of salt. Run it by a person that actually knows what they're doing. Do your research and be, just be kind of careful out there because, again, you cannot go to the IRS and say, hey, don't charge me penalties. I saw this thing on TikTok, right? So that is my word of the day. And again, I want to thank everybody for being out there, being in our audience. Really happy that you guys are out there watching the big show. And, reach out, get in touch with you if you want to. And that is about it for today. We're going to go to some commercials, pay a few bills, and we will be right back with you. Thanks for being with us. And we will see you next time on Legal Talk.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your Care Watch right now. Operators are standing by.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to have you here on Legal Talk. I am your host, John Mitchell, and of course, we are here on the Now Media Network. That's our home on the airwaves. Man, oh man, I am so excited to have everybody with us here today on the big show. And I got a question, that came in, and they asked me to talk about this and see, kind of give everybody a little bit of a guidance, a little bit of information, a little bit of an idea what to do about this, right? So as the way it was couched to me, all right, suppose a person got a brand new business, okay? So person went into business, they're selling widgets online on Etsy or whatever, and now it's a brand new business, the first time they're going to have to file a tax return. So what in the world should they do? How do you know what to do about that, right? Okay, so here is the skinny on that. So let's say it's a brand new business, okay? Starting at the bottom of the rung on the ladder, right? Let's say your business is a sole proprietorship. And that means that all you did is go down to the county courthouse. It's that way here in Texas anyway. By other states might be a little bit different, but it's going to be similar, right? So you go down to the courthouse, you register that name. So that is your DBA, you're doing business as, or sometimes they call it a fictitious name certificate, right? So you just register that name. Now, legally, there is no difference between you, the person, and you, the business, right? So if I go down to the courthouse today and I file a fictitious name or a DBA certificate, whatever you want to call it, I go down, I file that, and I say John's Widgets, right? Because I'm producing widgets, I'm selling widgets, right? So my name is John Mitchell, but I'm going to now have a business name, John's Widgets. That's the way it's going to show up on the sign. That's the way it's going to be in the phone book. There are still phone books, right? Whatever. Anyway, it's going to be on Google, right? So you're going to have John's Widgets. And somewhere in the registry of the governmental records, it's going to say John's Widgets is really John Mitchell, right? So that's all it is, but there is no legal difference between you and your business. So if you've got a business and it's a sole proprietorship, the only thing you have to do when you get ready to file your tax return, you're going to add up, here's the basic simple version of it, right? Add up the money that your business brought in, right? That's going to be your top line. That's your revenue. Okay, that's your gross income. Then you're going to take out all of the allowable business expenses, right? And so that is under, by the way, Internal Revenue Code Section 162, ordinary and necessary reasonable business expenses, right? So if I'm selling widgets, I'm John's Widgets now, right? So now I had to rent a warehouse where I'm going to store all the widgets until I sell them, right? I had a shipping cost for widgets that I sent to my customers. I had advertising cost. I hired a lawyer to help me out. I hired a bookkeeper, whatever. All of those expenses are expenses that helped me make money. So those are going to be ordinary and necessary reasonable business expenses. So I'm going to take my revenue, which is the top line. I'm going to subtract all of those business expenses. And then the bottom line, whatever's left over, right? That's what I put in my pocket, and I took that home so that I can pay my personal expenses, right? I got to, pay for those, those nice haircuts that keep my hair looking good. Got to buy some threads, right? And you got to dress right. So all of the personal expenses, rent, food, car payment, whatever it is, right? So whatever you have your gross, then you have your business expenses, then you have your net. Net is what you put in your pocket, right? So when you file that, all you're going to do is attach an extra schedule to your regular tax return. So let's say I've got a business, but I've also got a job, right? So I'm going to do my taxes. I'm going to put my W-2 from my job. I'm going to put W-2, from my wife's W-2 from her job. If we're filing together, we're going to put bank interest. We're going to put whatever we got. And then we're going to add in the business, right? So it's going to be on what is called a Schedule C. Schedule C, as in car, is just the income gross minus the expenses. That's going to give you your net. It's going to carry over to the front of your 1040. Boom, you're done, right? So that's the simplest way. Now, let's say you have a partnership. So I go ahead and go into partnership with, a good friend of mine named Giovanni, right? So now it's Giovanni and John together selling widgets, right? And so we're going to call it Two John's Widgets or something like that, right? So now I'm now liable to the IRS to file an extra tax return, right? And we're going to file what's called a 1065, and that is a tax return for partnerships, okay? And so our partnership brought in $1 million this past year, and now, we had all business expenses, $500,000, and there's $500,000 left, right? And now that's going to go 50-50 to John and Giovanni, right? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to file an extra tax return in the name of the business, which is now a partnership, right? So you got your partnership, money came in, money went out in expenses, and whatever's left, we split it up amongst the partners, right? In this case, we're talking about two partners. Boom, split it up 50-50. It doesn't have to be 50-50, but let's say it is. So then the entity, the business entity, the partnership is going to give me, and he's going to give Giovanni, a K1 is what the form is called, right? So K1 is just similar like a W-2 that you might get from your job, right? And it's going to say how much money, you are supposed to carry over to your personal tax return. I'm going to make this complicated, right? So you have the business is a partnership. Boom, you do your business tax return, and then the money flows through to the partner's personal tax returns, and that's how we pay taxes on it, right? So the partnership should probably not be paying taxes at the partnership level, right? That would not be kind of unusual, right? It can happen, but it's unusual. So now that's your partnership. Now let's say we decide to kick things up a notch, right? Let's say we decide, hey, our widgets, they're kind of dangerous, right? These widgets can burst into flames and hurt people, right? So we want to limit our liability. So Giovanni and I get together and say, man, this partnership thing is all well and good for us, but let's protect ourselves with some extra liability protection, right? So we make what is known as an LLC, which is a limited liability company. Now, people sometimes get this wrong. They call it limited liability corporation, and that's not correct. Limited liability company, and so that has characteristics of a partnership and also corporation, right? Now, tax-wise, the IRS can allow a LLC to be taxed in different ways. So I could form an LLC all by myself, and it's still tax-wise, it's going to go on my personal return, same Schedule C, like I described before. If it's a partnership, the LLC might file a partnership tax return, but your liability situation is going to be a little bit different before the public, right? So an LLC is kind of a chameleon, right? An LLC can take different forms, can be taxed as a disregarded entity, so it'll go on your personal return. It can be taxed like a partnership, or it can be taxed like a corporation, and that can either be C Corp or S Corp. Right? So how you pay taxes on your business is going to depend, right? Big thing to remember, if you're either a partnership or if your LLC is taxed as a S Corp, then your filing deadline is a month early. So it's going to be March 15th instead of April 15th, assuming a calendar year, right? So that's really the big difference, right? Now, if an LLC is taxed as a C Corp, just a regular corporation, April 15th filing date, you got your double taxation, so the entity files its return, pays its taxes, and then distributes whatever is left, as, let's say, dividends, to the owners, whatever, something like that, right? So that is different ways that you might need to handle your tax situation depending on how your business is structured and what it is you're doing, right? So again, my name is John Mitchell, tax attorney, 30 years experience, and my telephone number, if you guys want to reach out to me, I love to get calls from folks, and so it's 713-333-0555. I'm here in Houston, Texas, but I can take calls on federal tax matters from all over the United States. And even better way to get a hold of me is by email, jmitchell@cctaxlaw.com. And, I will either answer you individually, or we can set up a consultation and do something a little more formal, or I can use that question to, help other people here on the big show. So that is it, and I want to thank everybody for being with us here today on Legal Talk. And what I want to do now is go to some quick commercials, and then once we're done with those, we're going to come right back and continue onward, right? So thanks everybody for being with us. Really appreciate it. Don't go anywhere. Stick with us. We're going to have a few commercials. We're going to be right back.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
The legal profession is not immune to the disruptive power of artificial intelligence. AI is reshaping the way lawyers research, analyze, and manage legal matters. AI-powered legal research tools can sift through vast volumes of legal documents, statutes, and case law in seconds, providing lawyers with comprehensive insights to build their cases. In courtrooms, AI is used to manage and present digital evidence effectively. It can organize and analyze evidence, making complex cases more understandable for judges and juries. In contract review, AI quickly identifies potential risks, inconsistencies, and compliance issues in legal contracts, saving valuable time and reducing human errors. The future of law is being shaped by AI. AI is streamlining legal research, improving courtroom presentations, enhancing contract analysis, and making legal information more efficient and accessible. Data Dive, infinite insights instantly.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hi, my name is Michelle Merhar. You may remember me from the morning news. I'd like to tell you how getting data and documents into action fast gives you a competitive edge. Digital-first thinking to manage document workflows efficiently are giving all organizations a competitive edge. In fact, digital document automation is an essential process, helping us to become more profitable and to compete. By making any process paperless with secure automation, decisions can be made efficiently, virtually from anywhere. You'll be able to find and share documents securely in seconds. Your staff will be empowered by making optimal use of every office hour. And by the way, the size of your organization doesn't matter. Precision Products has been helping organizations